Hi, I'm Amy from The Fuel Homestead and thefuelhomestead.com, and today I am showing you how to make chicken bone broth and even how to can it in your pressure canner. So stay tuned, I'm going to show you how to do that. So we had a rooster problem on our homestead. We have two roosters. One was Bo. We call him Behemoth. We call him Bo for short. And he is our older rooster. He's about 7 or 8 years old. I'm not quite sure. And then we have Abner. And Abner was our white leghorn rooster. You've seen him in our videos and in pictures. He's just a beautiful white leghorn rooster that we loved. But he was starting to cause a little bit of drama in the hen house, and we needed to get rid of him. It was time to butcher him, and we weren't going to let him go to waste. So I figured we could butcher him and process him and then turn him into chicken and dumplings, which is a really great way to use your old hens and roosters. And then I would use the leftover bones for bone broth. And that's exactly what we did. The chicken and dumplings turned out great. I'm sorry I didn't record that for you, but it was just very fast paced this past week and I didn't have time to do it. So I did record bits and pieces of the process of making bone broth. And bone broth is so easy to make, so simple, and so beneficial to you and your family. Bone broth has a lot of minerals and vitamins and collagen and things that your body needs. If we think back to olden times, they used every single part of the bird that they would process. And that includes bone broth because it has so many medicinal benefits for your body. Bone broth is really the homesteader's very first line of defense to total and complete wellness. You know, the old saying, if you get sick, then you should drink bone broth or you should have chicken noodle soup. You know, as modern amenities came about, we went to Campbell's chicken noodle soup. Well, Campbell's chicken noodle soup isn't going to make you feel better, but bone broth can and will make you feel better. There's so many vitamins and nutrients in bone broth that help your body. They help boost the immune system and really give you an overall total health for your body. So this is why homesteaders especially really value bone broth and why I'm making it in completely separate video all on its own for the bone broth. So bone broth is really easy to make. You simply need the chicken carcass, and that can include even the neck and feet. We love using chicken feet in our bone broth. There's a lot of cartilage in there which releases into the bone broth. You're gonna need to descale and clean those feet really well. You would do this by simply blanching them in hot water for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can peel the skin and scales off and then just rub them with a hard brush underneath water to get them really clean, get the dirt out of the nails and stuff. So once you have your carcasses and feet and all of that ready, now you need some herbs and vegetables to go with it. So I like to add the whole carcass, including the feet and all the other extremities that you might want to use, to my Instant Pot. Now I'm not actually pressure cooking my bone broth. Bone broth is really done best when it's cooked low and slow. You could pressure cook it, but to me, bone broth tastes better when you slow cook it and slowly draw all of those nutrients out of the bones. So you're gonna add your carcass, you're gonna add vegetables like carrots and celery. You can add potatoes if you want to, but think of vegetables that have good vitamins in them. So celery and carrots are my go-to vegetables to add in there. And then I add herbs like thyme, oregano, onion, garlic. You can add ginger if you want to. There's a lot of different herbs you can add, but my main ones are thyme, oregano, onion, garlic, and bay leaf. Bay leaf is a must in your bone broth. It's very good. So you're gonna put all that in, and then you're gonna take just regular water. You can use filtered water or you can use your well water. It doesn't really make a difference. And cover the entire mixture up with water. Okay, so this is how you're going to get your bone broth. It's going to be the water that's turning into bone broth. It's like Jesus turns water into wine, and we're turning water into bone broth. So at that point, you're going to cover it up in your slow cooker or in a stock pot or your Instant Pot, whatever it is you're using, And now the wait comes. Now you're gonna wait for 24 to 48 hours on slow cooking before your bone broth is done. It really, you have to wait at least 24 hours for your bone broth to be done cooking the entire time. If you have to leave the house and you don't want to leave a stock pot on the stove, you can turn it off, cover it up with a rag or a dish towel, and then just turn it back on when you get home. That's why I like to use my slow cooker or my Instapot, because I can just turn it on and forget about it. It was going all day long, whether we were here or not, all night long, and we were good to go. So I let mine go for 48 hours. And then I was left with this beautiful bone broth. It's very dark. The longer you let it set, the darker it gets. And I placed it in my jars. I got a full gallon out of the bone broth from one small Leghorn chicken carcass and feet. And I got 4 quarts, which is a full gallon. And so now I need to preserve it. If I could go ahead and use it right away if I wanted to, if I wanted to make a soup, or anything that you would normally make with chicken bone broth or stock, but I'm gonna preserve it. I want to can it, I want to hold on to it, and I might even hold on to it for winter time. We'll just have to wait and see. But so now I need to pressure can it, and you cannot water bath can bone broth because it is a meat source, and so you have to pressure can it. So now I'm gonna walk through the pressure canning stage with you, and we're gonna go outside and get that done. Start your canning process by putting 3 quarts of water into your pressure canner. Now, I'm using the 23 quart Presto pressure canner today, and so that manual calls for 3 quarts of water in the 23 quart canner. Now, because I only have 4 quarts of bone broth, I'm not stacking the canner today, but if I were, I would show you how to stack them. You can get an extra rack for that canner and stack one can on top of the other, but today we just have 4 quarts, so I'm not having to stack them. So I'm adding 3 quarts of water to my 23 quart Presto canner, and then I'm adding the rack in, and then I'm adding my 4 quarts of broth onto the rack. I'm gonna turn my lid on, and then I'm gonna go outside and preheat my Camp Chef grill. Now, we really love having a Camp Chef grill on hand. We were sent this by Camp Chef. It's the Pro 60X. It has 2 burners, and it is a workhorse. If you have ever been afraid of pressure canning inside of your home, this is the camp stove that you need. It's affordable. It comes with add-ons that you can purchase, and it's really given me a peace of mind when pressure canning. We use this for water bath canning or pressure canning and any other type of preservation that you want to do. It just makes the job so much easier. It packs away in a package, and you can store it for later use, or you can leave it outside and cover it up for whenever you need it. Now, this comes in handy because this summer I'm hoping to set up a little outdoor kitchen once canning season really gets into full swing, and so hopefully I'll have a video on that for you as well. But in the meantime, let's get back to the bone broth. So I'm preheating my camp stove. I'm turning it on to about a medium heat to really burn off any dust that's in there or get things rolling. I'm gonna bring out my pressure canner, set it on top of the stove, and now the waiting game begins. At this point, you have to wait until steam begins to come out of the vent. Once you get a full stream of steam coming out, you're gonna sit there and wait for 10 minutes. This ensures that you're getting all of that pressure, steam, all of that air space out of your canner for 10 minutes. Once that 10 minutes is up, then you need to add your regulator. My Presto canner came with a little regulator. You can buy different types of regulators, but I'm just using the one that it came with. So once I have vented the pressure canner for 10 minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and put the pressure gauge on. Now, believe it or not, I am only at around 400 to 500 feet above sea level. You hear me say that we live on a hillside. We do. We're about midway down a very, very, very large, small mountain. And so we are very close to water. And at the end of our property, there's actually a stream. And so we're extremely close to that stream. And further down the road, just a little ways, we walk to it all the time, there's a river. And so we are in the mountains, but we are surrounded by river, and we're farther enough down into the valley portion of it where our elevation isn't high at all. You would think, whenever I tell people what our elevation is, they're like, no, there's no way, you live in the mountains. I'm like, yeah, well. So our elevation is only between 400 and 500 feet. You need to figure out what your elevation is. There's plenty of of apps and maps online that you can figure out, and then go according to your pressure canner. So according to my pressure canner, I need to sit right around 10 to 12 pounds. I'm going to keep it in that range, probably around 11 to 12 pounds with the gauge. So when your gauge is on, you're going to see your pressure dial begin to build up. Once you reach the desired pressure, that is when your timing starts. Now the trick is to find the sweet spot on your camp stove so that it maintains a constant pressure that you want and doesn't go too far above or too far below that pressure. It can take 5 or 10 minutes for you to really set that up with your camp stove. So babysit your pressure canner for at least 10 minutes until you've got it set. At that point, you're only waiting another 15 minutes before your jars are done. You only need to can your bone broth for 25 minutes since it's in quarts. If you were doing pints, you would do 20 minutes. But we're doing 25 minutes today because we're in quarts. Once that pressure gauge is up and ready to go, you start counting and it goes for 25 minutes. Then you're gonna turn your heat off and let the air escape on its own. Caution, don't take the gauge off. If you take the gauge off to release the pressure in the pressure canner once it's done, you will more than likely break your cans that are in your canner, and then all that hard work is just gone to waste. So you don't want any of that cold air getting in. Even though it's 90 degrees outside, it's still colder than what's in the pressure canner right now. So you don't want to take your gauge off. You want to let it release naturally. You don't want to manually release that pressure. So you're just going to do that. You're going to let it release, and then once your button goes down on your pressure canner to let you know that the lid is unlocked, then you can open it up, set your cans out, let them cool off, and you have officially canned your first batch of bone broth. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was very educational for you. I do encourage you to read your own pressure canner manual. Each pressure canner is different. Each camp stove is different. You can do it inside. You can just do it on your oven, but you'll need to watch it a little more. If you're using an electric stove, then your pressure can kind of be hit or miss. If you're using a gas stove, then you're in good luck. But it's really that simple. Pressure canning doesn't have to be scary. I used to be scared of it too, but this is a good first project for you. Not only a first project to make bone broth, but a first project to go ahead and can it and preserve your harvest. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great day. Happy homesteading.